Maybe. Yeah, Messi pretty good. He's very tidy, actually.
Okay, so B'ezrat Hashem today we are starting with Halachas Hilchas Fin Halacha Vav. That's right. So he says this is Al-Pi Torah Ayin Beis in Likutei Moharan Chelik Beis. So what we're doing first is, just in case you forgot, because Halacha was so long that it's like, by the way, right now on YouTube there are 44 installments of Halacha Hey. It took us 44 sure.
Mem Gimel was long.
What?
Like 4 pages.
So 44 sure.
Are you going to go back and do the beginning shirim until...
We'll see what we have, because
you need to put the whole set then. First of all,
we'll go on and we'll see. Okay, so Rabbeinu says in Torah Ayin Beis, in the second Chelik of Likutei Moharan, the synopsis of this Torah, which is the name that they call this Torah. Every Torah actually has a name. Likutei Moharan, it's like a name that the Chassidim gave throughout the generation. So Torah Ayin Beis Chelik Beis Lischazek b'chol pam neged ha'yetzer hara, to steel yourself every time against the yetzer hara. So it's like this: Misoyer Adam leTshuva, when a person wakes up to do tshuva. Azai ksherotze lechnas b'darkei Hashem v'lisor al hatzadik. So now he wants to, start getting up and go to the tzaddik. He wants to go in Darkei Hashem and he wants to go to the tzaddik. Gaber alav b'chol pam yetzer hara yoter gadol. Each and every time he gets a big yetzer hara. בכל מה שנכנס יותר בעבודת השם, מסגבר לבצע יותר גדול. אז בכלל, it's a klal. Chazal said...
Why does he get a big yetzer hara? Why does he get a big yetzer hara?
Because, the Rabbeinu explained, because he says it, he explains the way, there's a Chazal says, called a gadol michaveiro, anybody who is greater than his fellow, yitzor gadol mimeno, his yetzer hara is bigger than the other one. Someone says who wants to the Vilna Gaon, if I wish I had the Yetzer Hara, I'll also be a Gaon. He says, if you have the Yetzer Hara, you die. It's for kids, the greater you get, the Yetzer Hara is only according to the Madrega where you're holding. Because the Yetzer Hara is commensurate with your abilities.
Until you become a tzaddik?
No, all the time. All the time. What you're doing is...
there's not a point you just smash your Yetzer Hara and you...
Yes, there is. And when you get to David HaMelech, Rabbi Charal B'Kir, yes, then... Yeah, but then the Yetzer Hara becomes something else completely. Yetzer Hara of Tzaddikim is, Rabbeinu says, is Malach Kodesh Mamish. It's Mamish, a holy angel. This is Gabus Adinim, all kinds of different kind of you're Mamtik Dinim, you're not Mamtik Dinim, it's a different kind of Yetzer Hara B'chlal. He says it doesn't resemble, Rabbeinu says the Yetzer Hara of Tzaddikim doesn't resemble at all Yetzer Hara, the lower course Yetzer Hara of Hamonam, which is just ugly brute. Nothing to do with that. He says that when he says anybody is a chocham ktsas, it's just a shtickl chocham. He says that low Yetzer Hara that makes the world crazy, especially the Yetzer Hara of Niyuf. He says it's disgusting. I'm sorry to say this on Facebook, because I know it's totally politically not Facebook, YouTube, totally politically incorrect. But Rabbeinu says anybody who is a little bit familiar with anatomy, this whole Indian of the connection between a man and wife is utterly disgusting physically. It's ugly, and excuse me for saying it, it stinks. But there's such a taiva, so okay, everything goes, it's fine, it's okay. He says, but anybody who has a sechel amiti, he knows a little bit about anatomy. He says, it's right that this entire yetzer will be nivaser. He says, people, if they're not holding this madrega, when you tell them this taiva is really physically repulsive, will look at you and it's like, how can you say that? He says, because by them, the yetzer hara in the blood is so mixed, they cannot possibly understand how a person can be memorized in this time. But when a person is clean a little bit, it's what it is. But when the fire is burning, you don't see anything. It's just like anyhow.
I don't really understand what you're saying.
Children. Children. Can I?
All right.
Children. Their emotions clean, right? Little children.
Yeah.
You see them, they go, "Ooh, girls, ooh."
Uh-huh.
It's the same.
Right.
Shush. Girls hate boys.
That's
boys
right.
hate girls. When they're
That's
little.
right. That's right.
Yeah. In fact, you say to a boy, go and kiss that girl, he goes, "Ugh."
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing more disgusting than that. The organs themselves, I don't want to say anything, Khalil. It's just
Don't say it.
okay. It's just like it's magil. Okay. The point is, and the entire world is singing songs, ode of joys to that particular taiva. That have everything dedicated to this, and it's like, what can you do? Because that's the taiva kloli. But the ikar inyan by itself, is, that said, we'll go one step weiter. You get a Yetzer Hara that is commensurate with your ability to overcome it. Because the function of Yetzer Hara is to better you. Yetzer Hara got the rishos, wants to finish you off because it's his job. But the Kodesh Baruch Hu has given it to you because the tachlis is to be mechazik you, so you should grow. The minute you overcome a certain Yetzer Hara, it doesn't apply anymore. It's not going to do you any good anymore. It's nothing to do with you anymore. What happens is now you have to grow to go to high madrega. So you get a new Yetzer Hara. The Rebbe says that when a person was misoyer, as you'll see later on, when a person was, look what he's saying over here. That's why each and every time you need a new isgabrus. Iskasus chodosh, a new ischaskus. Neged Yetzer Hara chadash. Against the new Yetzer Hara. Isgabar of the whole palm that each time is steals against him. This is the source of the when a person feels sometimes gets his urges to go to the tzaddik, go to Yesh lo tshuka. He has a great urge, he has a great passion to go. Then when he starts going, then it doesn't feel like it anymore. Tshuka is passion. What? Yeah. That's what the Kodesh Baruch Hu said to Chava. Don't do that.
Sorry.
Don't do that. Please.
Then I saw you both.
You're out of camera range. You don't have to worry.
They're like, he didn't just touch it.
People just hear your sultry voice, but they don't see your face. Don't worry about it. It'll be safe for you to walk the streets. It's okay.
It's a face only a mother can love.
Then when a person decides to go, when he starts going, his cheshek goes down. And sometimes when he comes to the tzaddik himself, he falls off the cheshek b'chlal. It's like, what am I doing here? All this comes from that principle. Because the minute that you became motivated to go to tzaddik hayemes, so you already killed the Yetzer Hara that you had before. Now that you wanted to go, now you have a new Yetzer Hara, which is stronger than the one you had before. Because this is what Chazal said, the Gemara says, Masech HaSukkah, Kol HaGodol Mechaveiro, whoever is greater than his fellow, Yitzhak Gadol Mimeno, his Yetzirah is bigger than the other ones. This is why when anybody who really wants to bring himself closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he needs a new Iskaskus each and every time. Like the Yetzirah Chadash, against this new Yetzirah, Yetzirah is a perpetually self-improving mechanism. It's all the time. It's greater and greater. It says like this: there's a few aspects of the Yetzirah. In other words, there are many different levels of the Yetzirah. And most of the people, the Yetzirah is very, very low base and coarse. It's ruach shtus mamash, it's mamash craziness. And anybody who has even a shtickle of a clean mind, and he bothers to reflect a little bit in his own heart that the greatest of Kodesh Baruch Hu, the fact that Kodesh Baruch Hu he's here. Kodesh Baruch Hu is the isness of everything, of here. It's like a, it's not like that there's a world and Kodesh Baruch Hu is in the world. Kodesh Baruch Hu is the world. This is it. Kodesh Baruch Hu is here. Whatever it is that you do, Kodesh Baruch Hu. Kodesh Baruch Hu sees. The world is a Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's a fantastic thing.
He's in the business of isness.
Yeah. He's isness personified. Kal v'chomer, when a person does an affair, it has to be that there's such a degree of denial, that totally blocks out everything. So he says, anybody who has a shtickle clean seichel and can fathom his own a little bit the greatest of Kodesh Baruch Hu, so that kind of low Yetzirah that the people usually have, by him it's pushing craziness. It's a shtus, it's craziness. And even the nisoyan of typhus niyuf, of idolatry, with lo shtus, by him it's nonsense, it's golish. He doesn't have to, steal himself over it. He doesn't have to fortify himself. Nothing. But he had a different Yetzirah, a lot higher, a lot more refined. You think the guy that eats falafel is gashmistic? The one that eats, stuffed nightingale tongues in lobster is much more gashmistic than somebody who eats hamburgers. The ones that drinks shatola fitrachus from that knows between the right side of the hill and the left side of the hill is much more gashmistic than the guy that just is like, that's sour wine, right?
It doesn't have to be a negative gashmias.
No, it's good. I'm saying, what is the degree of gashmias? I said, the fact that something is subtler doesn't mean that it's less of Yetzirah. The way it's saying, the idea of gashmias means that you're trapped in this worldliness. That's the pshat of gashmias. It doesn't necessarily mean that that you're the one that is stealing up, that is standing in the market, and something. You go in the supermarket and you take a bag of flour. Not you, Chazal. Go take a bag of flour, right? You pick it up in your hand, falls down, a little crack. On the shelf, take a new one. They write it off. It's part of the, right? It's part of the. It's gezer. Let's just shoot the fog away. It is poshut gezel. What you need to do. You need to go to the manager. If you don't really want to pay for it, you go to the manager and say, listen, I got this. So the manager, I'm sure, has some kind of a as a Leo way of saying, just put it aside, take a different
Yeah,
one.
even the person at the kuppah.
What?
I've done it before at the kuppah. I've dropped something. And I said, look, I dropped it. And they said, don't worry.
But I don't know if she has the right to do this.
That's her problem.
No. No. That's the point. It's not her problem.
But there's
no, it's
there's
not.
but there's an element of before they sell anything, they know
Yes.
that
Okay,
5% is going to be dropped. They're already
okay,
miage.
okay. But what I'm saying is that you don't really want to pay for this.
No.
Okay. Let's just. All right. Then there's another guy. You know that he would never touch that for little. You know, but he swings diamond deals or real estate deals. You know, he can, you know, I don't know, swindle, but you know, shaft a guy. It's a business, you know. It's all business. It's all it is. Millions, literally millions. And this guy, no, this is okay. This is not. It's business, you know. I'm a businessman. What am I here to lose money? I'm here to make money, right? So the Yetzirah is not smaller by the bigger guy. The point is that the refinement of the Epicurean nature of whatever it is of your enjoyment does not make the Yetzirah any smaller.
Epicurean.
Yes. Epicurean means somebody who likes good food. I'm sorry about that. I should be telling this too. No, it's just going to tease you, and I realized why. What did you do? You didn't do anything. You know, I was just, you know, going to be clever for a minute with somebody else's cheshbon, which is really unfair. So I apologize. Okay. It's the same thing as dropping this thing and not wanting to pay for it. Only hear that. Hey, what did I do? I was just being clever, you know. Ah, you did it in somebody else's. So that great Italian by him, the Yitzhak of Niyuf is Pashtus. Just crazy. He has a much higher Yitzhak. But Yitzhak of most of the people in the world, who shtus godel be'emes is really, really incredible stupidity. Anybody who has a shtickle sechel emes, by him that Lord says gunish mitnisht. There are those whose Yetzirah is a fine klipa. It's a very subtle klipa. And this kind of Yetzirah, and megarin ela beish chayil godel b'malaksa. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu does not incite this kind of Yetzirah against anybody except if he's already shtickle b'madrega. Then it tests him out with this one. When you know the shades are not as clear. But that's not still that still is not the Yetzirah of the real tzaddikim. The Yetzirah shelahem, because their Yetzirah, the real tzaddikim, is Malach HaKodesh Mamash. It's actually a holy angel. Because they need something that will challenge them where they are. You know, they don't dwell where the people in the street, you know, goes, this is not where it's at all. And he says, Kacha, v'gam be'inyan iskarvus atzma l'shem yisborach, but also in the inyan of getting close to Kodesh Baruch Hu himself, yesh Yetzirah gadol, there is Yetzirah in this also. Hanu shelif amim, sometimes, riba islavas chutz me'amidah, you know, getting excited and motivated, you know, overly, you know, beyond this. U'ma'yetzirah that comes from the Yetzirah. This is, you have to be very careful, you know, not to go to HaKadosh Baruch Hu too quickly for your madrega. You have to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to have rachmanis on you. Should save you from that as well.
Is this the Zohar that like in Tanakh, there's a guy who's like perfect, and he's like a tzaddik, and then
Nobody can hear you, my friend.
Hashem tests him. Hashem tests this guy, and like he almost like breaks him.
You mean Eov?
Yeah. Is that how it works for a tzaddik? Is it like it has to be broken now?
No. Eov had it coming. סליחה, אנחנו מקליטים פה, אז אם רק אפשר לדבר טיפה יותר. Eov had it coming. The problem is that Paro had three advisors. When the question of throwing the Jewish children to the water came about, so they had Bilam, he had Eov, and he had Yisrael. So when he asked them the question, they all knew what he wanted to hear. Yisrael that heard it ran away. He forsake the position of the advisor to Paro, like the minister of whatever it is. He just forsook it and threw it away. In fact, he became like a leper for his people. People wouldn't even refuse to be shepherds to his sheep, to his flock, to the point that his daughters had to shepherd them. And this is when they were attacked. The other shepherds, Moshe Rabbeinu, came and saved them. Okay, what was his zoicha? That he gave everything up for that. That Moshe Rabbeinu was his chassan, right? He was his son-in-law. Bilam, he gave the eitzah. He said, "Yeah, go ahead. This is what you need to do: throw the children to the water, because their savior, is going to be his undoing is from water."
Eov lived around the same time.
Yeah. That's.
It was later.
No. It's just a book that belongs on Treyasar. It's one of the end of the Bible, but he is a contemporary of Yisrael and Bilam. Bilam said, "This is what you need to do. You need to throw the babies in the water." Yisrael ran away. Eov kept quiet. I'm not going to support this idea, but go fight City Hall. What can you do? I can't change anything. And this money, maybe I can do some good. Maybe I can mitigate. The Kitsu, you saw that somebody gives an advice to throw the children to the water and you remain quiet. Let's test you with the same thing. Your own children are dying. Let's see if you're going to remain quiet. So that particular test of Eov was commensurate with, it was coming to him. Not every time you get tested like that.
In the book of Eov.
No. The book of Eov is it just says, about this, it shows different things, but the Gemara says exactly what was that? In Achinami, once he was already in the Nisayan, that's his own Nisayan, how he's going to hold up, not going to hold up, whatever it is, it's a whole, but nevertheless, it's not to do with that. Somebody else is a tzaddik. The Yitzhak of a real tzaddik is Mamash HaMalach Kodesh. And he says that also in coming close to Kodesh Baruch Hu, there's also big Yitzhak. Because the Yitzhak, first of all, tries to fight you. Don't get into it altogether. Forget about it. These are dusty, sweaty people that are stuck in in medieval times, or just stay away from this. It's not for you. No, we look to them to be like so anachronistic that if we wave our hands, the dust will come out of them. We do like that too vigorously. But the point is that once you overcome this Yetzirah, so the Yetzirah says, run. This is it. This is the panacea. This is nirvana personified. This is it. Just go, forget everything, leave everything behind. You're a tzaddik. You just run. What happens is you don't have kelim for that. You start learning Kabbalah, it's not this and this, it's not Chatzos, and all the good stuff. Who can argue with you? You're only looking for kedusha. You're only for good stuff, but you don't have the kelim with it. We said already in Chasitzis that you need to have kelim for every asog. If you don't have kelim, the ha'ora doesn't stay. So especially it's to drive you to go beyond your pace. To outrun your pace.
Burn out.
And then you get a burn out. Then it crashes. Once you crash out, you don't crash to where you were before. You crash all the way down to East End of London, or whatever, or to the Bronx. It's like, forget about it. Phew. Anybody that has dinim on him, and he has some kind of a tzorach mon letzlan, and you see that there's, that at that particular point in time, you have to be extra careful from the Yetzer Hara. Because that's the time when the Yetzer Hara attacks you more than any other time. Because the source of all the evil inclinations is dinim, is gvuras and dinim. So when a person is in a state of gvuras, and we once said it quite a few times when we learn Likutei Moharan, we learn in Torah that we said that when a person wants to do tshuva, he is in a state of eke. He said the word eke, the name eke, Aleph Ke Yud Ke, is in Hebrew the conjugation of the verb to be, biyot, in the future tense. When you're saying I'm going to be. So they were bringing Gemara that there's a natural state of people in this world that the Gemara asks, is it better for the human being to have been created, to have been born, or not? So they say when you weigh the dangers of this world with the possible pluses, they say it's better that you shouldn't be born. The dangers are so great. I said, now that the person who was already created, what can you do? You're here. Despite yourself, you're born. He says, so he says, so before a person does tshuva, a person is in a state where it would have been better for him not to have been born at all. So he doesn't exist, because it's better for him not to have existed. But when he's starting to do tshuva, then what he's doing, he's preparing for himself an existence, because it's going to be better for him to have been born. So that's what?
Sounds like the state of Israel.
So that state of tshuva is you're preparing yourself an existence, because tshuva is not there. Tshuva is the movement towards there. So what do you say? I'm going to be there. So Ani Yasham, I'm going to be there. So when you're doing tshuva, you're in a state of eke. And the state of eke is the Kabbalistic formula that describes the state that you're in. Now, that state of before the tshuva, before the act of tshuva, there is what you call the back of eke. Right? It's the other side, the before the eke. What happens before you do tshuva? You're before eke. When you do tshuva, it's eke, right? What happens before the tshuva? You're before eke. You're pre-eke. Okay? Pre-eke has a specific Kabbalistic expression. Like in math, you have a formula. In Kabbalah, there is an expression to a pre-eke state. It's called eke b'achorai. It's called back eke. How's it written? You write the name eke, and each time you go back to the first letter, and you go it again. So it'll be, you write the name Aleph, and then before you just write the letter K, you go back to Aleph, and you go Aleph K. And before you go with the Yud, you go back to the beginning, you go Aleph K Yud, and before you write the last Hey, you go back to the beginning, you go Aleph K Yud K. So the formula of pre-Eke is Aleph K Yud, Aleph K Yud K, all together, the whole thing. The gematria of pre-Eke comes to Dam, blood. You are in a state of Dam. When a person is in a state of Dam, so blood happens. What do you mean blood happens? Either Chas Chalila or Bizayon. You know, because they say if you mavazes somebody, you shame somebody, it's like you kill him, right? You know, being malbim b'nei chaver rabim is the revital of lo tirtzach. You should not kill, right? So he says, you know, the albonas parim is that the blood leaves the face. Why is it called albonas parim? He says that the blood leaves the face. You know, they become white. You know, from the shame. He says that the revital because this is a matzav of dam. Whoever gives in Torah Vav a tikon to that state of dam, you have to shift yourself from pre-Eke to Eke itself, is you satisfy the state of dam, of blood, by flipping it to dom. Dom means keeping quiet. When you are being mevaze, when you feel a bizoin, you feel a shame and derision, and somebody derides you, shames you, you keep quiet. Because you realize, you know, why does it come to me? I'm in a state of dam because I did what I did and I still did no tshuva. So the fact that he's mevazing me, it's coming from a state of dam. He says, that's what the Rebbe says in Torah Vav, the Iker tshuva, the main principle in tshuva is Yishma Bizyo. You know, you should hear your shame and keep quiet. Torah Vav. Torah on Elul. It's the Torah of Elul. That's the Rebbe says that you have to be, you know, very proficient in going up, going down. So Mimele, when a person is in a state of dinim, he lives there, he exists in it. It's not that there's some kind of a thing which is dangling over him. It means he exists, he lives in it. He lives, that's called when that dinim on a person means that he lives in this. So everything any derivative, any consequence of dinim and gvuros is happening. One of the things, which is a natural result of goods and dinim, is Yitzhara. So when a person is in a situation of dinim, you know, when he should be very careful, Yitzhara then. Usually, the way that the Yitzhara comes, attacks a person along this I wanted to come back because I think this is an important thing for him to hear. But nevertheless, we'll say it once and then we'll say it again. Chazor. It's usually when a person is going through hard times, a person feels like I deserve a break. I'm going through such hard things, at least I should, you know, enjoy myself a little bit, you know, just to take a little break from reality. That's where the Yitzhara is coming in. So when a person is in a state of dinim, in a state of dam, a state of dam means that it's either this or that is going to happen to him. Either Bizyonis will come to him, and he has a way of either succumbing to it or using it, to get into a state of ekir by being quiet. So what I'm saying is that all this Yeshua says that there's a dinim on a person, there's gvuras on a person, whatever it is, it means that he lives in that. That's his reality. It's not that there's something dangling over his head. He lives in that. One of the derivatives of the gvuras and din is the Yetzer Hara. So therefore, when a person sees that there are all kinds of trials, he goes through trials and tribulations, should be very careful from Yetzer Hara at that particular time. Because Yetzer Hara is going to slither his wealth in, as we said, his way in, as we said before. He's going to say, you're having such a tough time. Enjoy yourself for a little while. Have a little break. What's the big deal? It's like, boom, and he gets you there. And he says like this: Yesh bnei adam sheyesh lehem hirur niyuf chas v'sholom. There are people who have hirurim of niyuf chas v'sholom. U'mizgabrim aleim b'yos v'shas atfila. And when does it come? In the middle of Shmoneh Esrei, or in Psukei Zimra. All the world see me that I'm shuckling back and forth with my dollars, and what is actually going on in my head? Woo! There's such a thing that in the time when he's standing to daven, he's davening in front of the Myonis, so he has all kinds of hallucinations, like he sees like this images in front of him. Kilo omed lefanav avodah zora. Yoshka is standing in front of him. There's a cross in front of him. So if you're davening to me, you're praying to me, and you're going like this, and there I am. And you go here, there I am. You can't shake me. You read it out and you're like, oh, what's going on? I'm laughing at it. It ain't funny, man. All kinds of bad things. You see something, sometimes you see something foul, and it gets stuck in your mind. Let's say like sticky tar, right in your mind, and you just can't shake it. You can remove it. And he says that in the time of davening, it's just like, how can you daven the cloud? It just totally throws you off course. You can't do anything. They have people suffer from this greatly. They have great yisurim from that. They want, you want to overcome it. You want to shake it off. To push these thoughts from one's mind, to be free, to daven, to be a mensch. And they throw their heads like this and like that, trying to shake it off. You should know that the more they suffer from it, the more anguish they suffer because of it. And the more you're trying to remove from your head, these hallucinations, become greater and greater. Because that's their nature, that's how they work. That the more you think about them to push them away, and they stick to you more.
Stop fighting.
Is what you really need to do. Don't pay attention to them. You want to stand there? Be my guest. Be my guest. Yashke Pondrik, what do you want to stand before me? You want to watch me daven? Be my guest. You want to yap? I'm there doing it. Be my guest. No problem. No problem. Just stand there. You went to the market, you saw somebody, the unsneerstic, whatever it is, it's stuck to your mind, or whatever it is. You want to stand there? B'vakasha, no problem. And it says, and don't give a hoot, like as we said. What's it? You and the dead owl. Both of you don't give a hoot about these dimyonis. Don't. I'm sorry. So it wasn't funny. I have to be funny every time.
Waiting for it.
I know. And besides, I said it already a few times. It's not that funny, you know. But I have to recycle, you know.
I think you can say research.
ולא אכפת לכמה שעומדים לפניו, and he shouldn't care בכלל what they're standing in front of אלא דמיונס והאירועים, you know, these kind of דמיונס. ולשמוע אותם כאן, don't listen to them בכלל, don't hear it. Don't hear it. You want to be here beside it. Okay. And יעשה את שלו במה שהוא עסק, and he says, you do whatever it is that you're doing. מה שהוא עסק בתורה, או תפילה, או משהו מתן, do whatever it is that you need to do in Torah, or davening, or business. Do your work, just don't want to stand there, בבקשה. ולא יביט לאחר, and don't look at them, they're still there. You want to be in the field, whatever it is, because they already said, are you still here? All right. Don't look at them, you want to be, that's fine. אם מסתכל מלך, יעשה את שלו במה שהוא עוסק, and he says, just do whatever it is that you do, be busy, whatever it is you're busy with, ובזה יסתלקו ממנו ממילא, they're going to leave you by itself, they're going to leave you. אך זהו רק עצה לפי שעה, this is just a temporary advice. This is not a final solution for this. העיקר, the main thing you need to do, שצורך לקדש ולתר גופו, you have to purify and sanctify your body. Physicality. These are remnants of physicality. You have to clean the body. You have to clean the body. It says, you cleanse your body, you know, but how you behave, like the mikvah, whatever. And you go to the tzadikei emes and their talmidim, and they will show you the ways of truth, how to live your life. And then they're going to leave you in truth. Then they're going to get away from you. It says, now, depression and sadness and that wistfulness of until when, ad mosai, you know, I'll be such a bum. It says, mazik mod is very, very damaging. It gives the koch to his gabi. Yitzhak tells you, no, you're being ehrlich, you're really being honest with yourself. At least you're admitting the truth. You're not cheating yourself. You're not deceiving yourself. You call the baby by its name. You're really, no. It's the opposite. That kind of sadness and depression that you think, with this at least you're being honest, quote unquote, is the thing that feeds the Yetzer Hara. But the depression also gives koch these confusions. She's gabahas that should overtake you. You should do whatever it is you need to do. Don't get sad. Don't get mad. You know, as they say, don't get mad, get even. You know, just it. There are things that you need to do. Forget about that.
Forget about it.
What?
Forget about it.
No, not forget about it. Just do what you need to do. It's just don't fear them, and don't fear them, and don't dread them. I don't understand
why it's not a remedy. It's still a remedy. Even after you purify your body and whatever, like 10 years later, it's still going to come back.
It's the same thing.
Just ignore it.
It's the same thing when a person suffers from pain, okay, and they take a painkiller. The painkiller itself is a toyeles, the refuah. Why? Because when a person is in pain, you know, when a person is in pain, he tends to favor, you know, the tender spot. You know, he tends to. So when he does that, he's actually making the injury worse.
Right.
You know, so the anti-inflammatory, the analgesic is the anti-inflammatory is called to Shabbos. So so a painkiller, even though it's not the final refuah, it helps in the final refuah because it prevents the shir from getting worse, right? So the same thing is over here. You know, the fact that you find a tactic to deal with the situation, it's a temperature, but they're going to come back. And each and every time they come back, you can use this, and you know. But it's a battle that will keep on going until you actually cleanse your body with all the different drachim. The main thing is that you know, while you're doing this, you come to the tzaddik, you learn his forum, you meet with his people, you get eitzes on how to behave and what to do, what not to do. And B'nai Hashem, that will clear it completely. You'll get out of it. I told this story many, many times, and I'll tell it again. I used to have in Shachris, right after Krishma, I used to say, you know, Emes v'Yotzav, and all that right there. There were two words that, for me, stuck together and spelled out a dirty word. And I couldn't get rid of it. Just no way. And each and every time, I would try to say it like real quickly. Guess what? It was always quicker than... I would be already 10 words afterwards. I was already 10, 20 words afterwards. You were still like, hi, remember me? You saw me, right? What do you think? You're gonna speed over me, right? I got you. Yeah, it was only when I did this and I realized, listen, there's like an esrog, has a fleck on it. There's a leaf stuck onto this, you know. There's a fleck on my neshama. What can I do? This is an expression of this stain that I have on my neshama. What can I do? Somebody who has a clean mind doesn't get that kind. It doesn't make this connection. You know, it's like what on earth? How can you do that? My mind just look at this, right? So I just said, okay, so this is what it is. He's laughing. So besides, so this is what it is. This is what it is. Whenever I go, I see it. Go back to it. And after a while, I just use this particular eitzah. Years later, I suddenly noticed that I don't see it anymore. And today, I don't even remember what it is. I don't know which words they are. I don't see it. If I would have kept on fighting it, I would be 90 years old. I was like, look what's going on here. He was like, let's go. What you need to do is you need to force yourself to be besimcha with all these different drachim that we said. A, Kadosh Baruch Hu is with you. Kadosh Baruch Hu is with you. B, the tzaddik is with you. The tzaddik is with you. Kadosh Baruch Hu sent you the tzaddik to show you the way. C, you have your own Nekudas Tovos. Down this morning. You went to the mikveh this morning. You went to the mikveh before Shabbos. You're learning Likutei halachos. You're learning Torah. It's not a small thing, man. It's not a small thing. Just because there's an oligarch that can buy a football team and invest $1 billion in it, doesn't mean that owning a shopping mall is a small thing. All right? It's not $1 billion. You know, you can't buy Chelsea or Tottenham, but you know, owning like big. Okay, you own big. It's not a small thing. Or you know, the point is that you don't realize that this you know, what you do every single day, that is being a billionaire. You're not a tzaddik like who knows who, but first of all, you don't know. Tzaddik, I'm not talking about tzaddik emes, forget about that. I'm saying people that around you that look so much better, there's so much better. You don't know what this is, so you don't know what he came to the world for, what is he dealing with, what's his yisur, what's yours. Don't be a maven. It's a dangerous
thought process, because you can talk yourself into being a tzaddik or a Russian.
No, the point is, Rebbe says, don't worry about it. Rebbe says, no, don't worry about it. You're not going to be a Rasha by taking a little tally of the good stuff you do. Other than being fakir. The Rebbe says it's a Torah, the Torah Rish Peves, is the Torah that you need to go with all the time, every single day. If you're making a cheshbon of all the stuff that you did bad, remember we spoke about making this list, what you should do, whatever it is. You're making a tally of what you need. Last week's Pasha, I said it already before. We recycle it again. In the vidui of the Bikurim. Vidui Bikurim is a confession of Bikurim. You come now. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say the whole thing. What do you start saying? I give maestros. I do everything all right. I didn't give a matzah sheni to a dead person. You know, I didn't. You know, I didn't eat from this when chas v'chalila when I was in Oinen. You know, I was in Ovel. You know, I did. Okay. Good. Now I did good. Right now you do good. You bless us. That's a confession. Since when this is a confession? A confession is about the bad stuff. Since when is a confession about all the good stuff that you did? So I wanted to say a little, and this, it's a shayla that many.
Right, it's the guy.
No.
I did this, and my sin is that I did this.
This is when the chokhmah comes. People don't know the answer. That's the answer that they give. They're trying to get because we had that.
No.
What we're saying is that the people that I'm not putting you down, but they said that I did all these mitzvahs, but I had tzara when I did them. This I don't know the answer to it, but I can give you a better answer, I think, than that. And that is, in order to do a real cheshbon nefesh, to find out, to a self-assessment of who you are and what you are, the good stuff must be included. If it's only the bad stuff, it's either self-flagellation, you're into feeling sorry to yourself, head trip, or you're in competition of showing anybody else who's a bigger anav. When we said this is a dugma that I always give, I got out of my house, remember? I got out of my house, and there were ants there, and I stepped on them. And these are Hashem's creature. How could I do this? He says, are you kidding? I went outside, there were no ants there, but they were there the day before. And I felt, what would happen if I would have stepped the day before? I would have stepped on the ants. I killed myself. You see, what a big tzaddik guy, what a big guy. Yo. Chill. How can you actually you can get into feeling, showing what a big Russia you are, because you feel better for yourself. And the biggest problem there is not so much, that feeling, who's the biggest on of competition. That's not the worst thing. The worst thing is that you're feeling sorry for the wrong things, on the things you really should feel sorry for, you're not sorry at all. You're just sorry for the things you feel bad about yourself, but you're not really sorry for the bad stuff you did. So when you come and you bring the good stuff to the table, that's the good stuff that I did. It gives a reality check to all this self-examination. The good stuff is this, the bad stuff is this. Then you're really looking at the bad stuff. Then you can really do something. A confession has to include the good stuff. Otherwise, it's just a depression competition, which has nothing to do with tshuva.
It's not I mean, according to the Rambam, that still wouldn't be teshuvah. You're saying, I've done something good, therefore there's no charata there. There's no...
Why should it be charata for the good thing you did?
It's not teshuvah. You're saying, because the good stuff really the bad stuff, and therefore you need to do teshuvah for it, and therefore you have to confess it.
No. The good stuff is good stuff. You should feel good about yourself. Now let's examine the bad stuff. The bad stuff, you should do tshuva. I'm not saying that you should disregard the bad
I
stuff.
think you're saying the good stuff was really bad.
No. All right.